Hello knitters, Barbara Benson here. I'm an independent knitwear designer who also likes to make videos here on my YouTube channel, Watch Barbara Knit. Make sure to check in the description below where you'll find all kinds of fun links, including to all of my social media outlets, where you can learn how to get my patterns to knit up for yourself, how to join Watch Barbara Knit, our Facebook group where we continue our conversations, and how to support me on Patreon. Today I have a pattern tour for you, and I do these when I release brand new patterns so that I do my best to take pretty photographs and I put them up so you can see what they look like, but sometimes nothing beats seeing it live and in motion. So that's what I do, and I talk a little bit about inspiration and things like that. Today is a first for me, actually. It is my very first lace weight shawl, in that it is lace weight yarn. I mean, I've designed quite a few lace shawls that it's lace knitting in everything up to super bulky yarn, but this is my first lace weight yarn, and you know, I'm super excited about it. This was for the Yarn Over Trucks Club. They do an annual club where you sign up and you get shipments, and it's a exclusive yarn and a pattern design to go with that yarn, but I also get to put the pattern up for everyone to get. This year's theme was Happiness Is, and it was like there was a fall one, there was like Nights in the Museum or whatever, and my theme, which I thought was very appropriate, was Sunsets at the Beach. So I received this gorgeous, oh, the other big theme is it's all for gradient yarns. So check out all the patterns that have come out if you're into gradients. I received, oh, I just had it. I received from Apple Tree Knits this beautiful, it's called Silklin, and it is a 65% silk, 35% linen, and it's a 4-ounce skein. It's like 750 something yards. It's a lot of yarn. It's a lot of very skinny yarn. Gorgeous. You can see here, it is absolutely beautiful. And so I went with that theme. Obviously the yarn was dyed to the theme, and I wanted the shawl to reflect that theme. And so I decided to work and play with the shape of it, which is brand new for me. And I don't know that anyone's ever done this shape because it's a little on the strange side. And also in the lace motifs I chose. You can see right here, hopefully, that I tried to go for, and you can see it's lace weight. Look, you can see my hand through it. I tried to go for a motif that really echoed or tried to evoke a wavy kind of pattern. I'm gonna let you see this here before I take it down, because this is one of the fun ways I think it looks really nice. So it is an enormous shawl. It's just so much lace and so much fabric, and so you can see how far, yeah, she's making all kinds of great noise. Sorry about that, guys. There you go. Here we go. Whoop, whoop. See, look. It's all the way around, and it's sort of cape-like. I'm going to pull her off. And look. How much fabric this is. To truly impress upon you the uniqueness of the shape and to get an idea of the size of it, because I straight up cannot do it on this screen, I took y'all on a field trip to my beautiful backyard. So I had to bring it out because there's no way that I could show it to y'all in a way. Okay, and this is something I wanted you to see. The wind just started, and look at this. It's just so, see how it's just barely blowing. Look at that. I wanted y'all to see the drape on it, and I really wanted y'all to see the size of it. It is just an enormous shawl. It's an unusual shape, which I think is super fun, but the measurements belie its size, because when you look at it and you're thinking about like a normal triangle shape or normal crescent shape, none of the measurements make any sense. So I wanted to show you this and then how to put this on. So with the solid part, I'm gonna take this and then throw it. Let's see what happens. You know what? I haven't played with this on myself much. Just look at that. Look at how that moves. Isn't that amazing? Basic. We're going to just put it on like this, and I want y'all to see how far down my back it goes. Look at that. How's it look? And then, if I do the lace side up, again, from the front, it looks like you might be wearing a standard lace shawl. It hangs down about as much as a triangle shawl does, but then in the back, so dramatic. And then I have some photos where I styled it on my model, where I'm gonna show y'all, and you can see the different ways you can wear it. But I just wanted you to see. So it begins right here with a tiny little bit of stitches, and it just grows, look at that, and grows and grows. Ooh, the wind's picking up, look at that. Okay, I hope you have a better idea of what the shape is. Let me show this to you. So here is, look, that I have on pink. So that is how the wave pattern sets up. Here, let's get it a little bit closer. There you go. Can you see them? And you know what? I think they look wavy in both directions. Here it is, whoop, whoop, from the other direction. I think they still look like waves. Now, the beginning, as I mentioned, is this tiny little tip, right? So it starts out as a tiny little tip, and we're essentially, it's very similar to my curiosity scarf in how it starts. And initially you are increasing along the center line. And once you finish this setup, there's gonna be a stitch marker in the middle that divides the two sections. And what I think of this is the beach section. So you've got this easy, pretty texture that for me, that's solid, and you can see how it grows. And for me, that was the beach. And then the other side with all the lace is the water. It's the waves crashing on the sand. And so the beach continues once we finished our center increases. We've got that center stitch, we've got that stitch marker, and you continue increasing every other right side row on the right side of that stitch marker. You know what, it looks empty here. I'll bring her back over. And so this, it grows in a triangle, and you actually end up with a straight edge on the solid side. The lace side, the water side, is where things get, to me, super interesting. I wanted to play with the idea of a nautilus shell. How they are kind of, or like when you look at shells, they're kind of straight on one side, and then they do this swirl or this whirl. And so what happens is you quit increasing right in this, on the spine, and you start getting into what is a modified half pie shawl shaping. And what that is you do a whole lot of increases on one row, and then you go for X number of rows. And then you double the stitches. And then you go for double the number of rows you went in the previous section. So you get these wider stretches where there are no increases happening in the actual lace. It's just, you get these, you can see it right here. you get these big increase rows. And I did that on purpose because I wanted it to look like waves crashing on the sand, and you know where they run into each other and you get that little bit of chaos. So you've got the wave coming in and then the increase round. And then it also creates sort of a wavy edge here because the increases, and then, so you're going to knit a little bit and then do a huge increase, and then a little bit more, huge increase, a little bit more, huge increase. Then you got a large run and another doubling, and then you have this huge ending. And I enjoyed knitting it. It was a different way, and and at the end, in the video in my backyard, you can see it created a really interesting, this last increase. It's got a very different drape than most shawls do. It hangs differently. I have several pictures here I'm going to show you of my lovely model. Thank you, Lisa. And we went out onto the beach here in Sarasota, and we played with it, and I styled it. And it's such a huge piece of fabric. There's so many different ways to wear it. I said the measurements don't really give you all the information you need. So the measurements I've given you is that it's 41 inches along the straight edge, which is this triangle here. And then it's 49 inches along the concave edge, which is this on the other edge, and then 55 inches on the convex edge, which is the bind off. So it's a very different shape, but there's just so much fabric that you can wrap yourself, and it's so fine with the lace weight. It's okay to have a lot. It'll collapse down so well. So I can take this and push it way back here and then pull this around. It's so hard to do this sitting down, y'all. And you can just do whatever you want. And I really am looking forward to people playing with it and seeing how they want to wear it. But of course, you can also just, dramatically wear it draping down your back. I gotta say, I really hope I get to see people making this and pictures of it on a special occasion dress, if you know what I mean. It's just, I really am in love with it. And I gotta tell you, I'm not usually, there we go, it's a cape. I'm not usually the biggest fan of lace weight yarn, but I just think I hadn't met the right lace weight yarn, or I just hadn't accepted the challenge of it, because it made me think in some different ways and different ways I can do things. I'm just gonna leave it on like that. There we go. So, details. I told you the size. So it's lace weight yarn. You're going to need around 750 yards. This is a silk linen blend. You could do it in 100% lace weight cotton, 100% silk, 100% linen. You could even do it in 100% wool. I think it would be fine. Or a wool blend. It's just, the thing is, it needs to be this very, very fine yarn to get it to the size that it is. I really highly encourage you to swatch and try to get gauge. Figure out what needle size works for you. I used a 5. Your results may be different. The stitches involved. So it's knit, purl, slip with yarn in front, and that's just the edge. Slip, slip, knit, yarn over, and then central double decrease. The central double decrease is the only stitch that's even remotely into just a little bit more than basic stitches. So it's a lot of knitting, but not high complexity. So if you think you need 2 stitch markers. I'm trying to remember why you need the second stitch marker. Oh yes. So you've got that center stitch marker. It never moves. But then, let me show you, there is this column dividing, you can see it right there. There's this column and this is where the central double decreases are, of little arrows, which I thought of as birds flying along the shoreline. There's this column of little arrows that divides the lace from the beach. And what you do is at the beginning of each large section, I have you place the stitch marker so that you have this little section sectioned off, so that the instructions are easier to follow and you know how many, because it gets to the point where the number of repeats you're doing is very large. I mean, it's a lot of stitches and it's a small motif, so it's a lot of repeats. So instead of saying repeat like 50 some odd times, it's just repeat to marker, and then you're not so obsessed with counting. But there are marks. I do give you stitch counts, so you can have some consistency. I mean, just look at that. I just love the drape on this. I'm gonna pull this up. What happens? I also think you could get really creative with a shawl pin, because it's so lightweight. You could do some really interesting things with shawl pins, and again, with a lot of the fabric, folding it up, working it, and making different shapes with this fabric. Okay, I'm keep on checking where I have all the information written down. This, you probably will not see this dress again on a video. Obviously, the top of it is not cooperating with me, but I thought it would be really good for the backyard portion of the program. Oh, the pattern. There's a chart. There are charts, but you can work it from completely written out instructions. So it's one of those where it's like you can work from the chart, or you can work from the written out. I've written out the charts for those of you who don't particularly care for charts. And the charts aren't that particularly big. I mean, it's just little tiny, it's just this little tiny guy here. I think it's 12 rows. It's not that bad. And then, oh, you're like, why is it named Ceto? C-E-T-O. That's kind of a strange name. I decided to go look because we are dealing with water and ocean and all that kind of stuff. But I wanted to do something because you know what? You can do it in whatever colors you want. I think it would look beautiful in a solid color, any color. Or if you wanted to stick with a gradient, you could do gradients of green and it would have a very foresty feel. I try to name things that don't really kind of push a colorway on you. So Ceto is actually, and I'm looking at Wikipedia here, an ancient Greek mythology, the daughter of Pontus and his mother Gaia or something. I'm not real sure about all this mythology, but she is a primordial sea goddess is what it specifically says. Or a sea monster, whatever. I mean, one person's monster is the other person's goddess. So that's where the name came from. So this is my new Laceweight lace shawl pattern named Ceto, and I hope y'all like it, and I can't wait to see some of you knit it. If you do decide to knit it, please come to either my Ravelry group or to Facebook and share the pictures of you working on it. If you have any questions about yarn, we might be able to figure something out for you. If you like this video, please give it the thumbs up, click that like button. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload a new video, please subscribe to my channel and select notifications. Thank you so much.